Hi, I'm Trevor E.S. Smith. I'm with the Success with People Academy, and I am your host, your facilitator in this session of the Success with People Insights. Yeah, last week we were calling them live casts, but now we have shifted to having the session available to you readily so you have not got to register and remember to come. Its access is right now available to you. So I have been working with teams for a long time, working with middle managers, team leaders. And one of the things that keep you know, coming up in these sessions is the team leader saying, the mid-tier manager saying, I can't get this message through. Yes, communication flows down, shoot, but getting the messages up is challenging. And so, when a team leader is challenged in front of the group, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I know mid-tier leadership is challenging. There's pressure from, you know, those that you lead, and there is pressure coming from those whose instructions you are to implement. However, in this success with people insights, I want to throw out a challenge that I have put before mid-tier leaders in the past to say, what if we could address this issue of managing upwards? So let's take on this challenge. So that is the central issue in the Success with People Insights. It is that mid-tier managers often express this concern that the bosses don't listen. My boss don't listen. You know how long I've been saying this, and they won't take me on. Well, in this half an hour or so, we try to get out of these insights within 30 to 35 minutes. We will provide 7 keys to addressing the issue. And the idea is that we want to increase the capacity of team leaders, supervisors, mid-tier leaders to manage upwards. How can they better manage their bosses? Sounds strange, but let's talk about it. So, first of all, though, does any of this resonate with you, or you see this happening in your team? That there is frustration at the non-responsiveness of decision makers further up the chain. Yeah, this is obvious. This is what we think needs to be done, but I'm not getting any response. Whether it is budget or some other priority, it's not happening for me. Or there is a shaking of the head at issues that could, and I would say should, have been resolved, but still remain as sore points. Hmm? What about this one? Do you feel as if your team members expect more from you, but your hands are tied? That, hey, I want to do it too. I see it. I understand. If it were left to me, these things would be addressed. Is that something that you can identify with? I, I hear all of that. I hear all of that. And I'm going to be very unpopular with mid-tier leaders. Or maybe not, because I'm giving you answers. I'm saying, let's move away from the mindset that points upwards to say, hey, it's not my fault. I'm trying my best, but I can't get my message through. Let's shift the mindset. And so I'm inviting a new approach, an approach that says, we can develop the competence to manage upward. We can get better results sending information upwards if we apply the 7 keys that I will outline in a minute. So instead of reciting the dysfunction at the senior management level, let's learn how we can be more persuasive and intentional with those exact managers, my bosses, to get them to take action on things that you know are important and are in the best interest of the organization. So that's my challenge. Yes, we must get our bosses to listen. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. The issues will remain unless we can get our messages through. We are at the front line. We have our fingers on the pulse of what's going on. Someone then needs to listen to us. See, I'm identifying with you. All right. So let me tell you why this is so important. We can get on because we want to get out of here, as I promised, within 30 to 35 minutes. So there was a study by Vital Smarts. 1,700 nurses, doctors, administrators at 13 hospitals. And this is what they found, that 34% of nurses and other practitioners said that they had a concern about the incompetence of a particular physician. Yet only 1% of them had spoken to the physician or, and shared their concerns. 54% said the situation had gone on for more than a year. So here is an incompetent physician. Going ahead, everybody identified that this is the case. And they allowed, 1% has done anything about it. And 8% of them said that the patient had actually been harmed by this physician's action. So there it is, that we have a situation where, again, challenging authority to do better, if you want to put it this way. All right, but let us look at an even more catastrophic, sad situation. You remember 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger. Yeah. Well, it could have been avoided. The engineers who manufactured the O-rings said, hey, we're not so confident that this thing will work so well in the cold weather. However, they feared the big top brass of NASA, and they went ahead. Of course, we know what happened. There was a tragic loss of life. So, what I'm sharing these 2 case studies is to say that there is an awesome responsibility to challenge top leadership on critical issues. There is no point in being afraid to raise issues and to sell ideas and to insist, okay, strong word, okay, on getting your message through. Otherwise, bad things can happen. All right. So I'm going to give you 7 keys to help you to get to the place where increasingly information flows upwards almost as easily as it flows downwards. Yeah? So the first thing really is to put yourself in a position where you are credible. And in order to do that, you have to develop a reliable track record. You have to let your boss know that you have things covered. You are a sound source of advice, a sound source of information. They can trust you to provide valid information. And so when you come and you make this point, they should listen because you are a performer, a reliable deliverer of what it is that is required in the organization. So that's what it is. But don't just do the job and do it well. Let them know that you're doing it. You have to sell yourself as well. Let it be known that you are competent. Find ways to make it clear that you are a competent, reliable individual. And so that when you speak, people ought to listen. Okay. The second key is this one is challenging. You have to shift your mindset. I know as leaders, we are caught up with what is important for us. So our constituents, our team members want this, and we see the need for that, the need for the other thing. And so we are very focused, and rightly so, on what is important for our team and to get our tasks done. However, in the bigger picture, you're going to get better results if you shift your mindset. Shift your mindset. Just think about it. If you are leading your team and you have clarity about certain things, what this needs to happen, and one of your team members raise issues that are outside of that, you might not be as attentive to them as if they came and spoke about issues that are top of mind for you. So my suggestion is that you shift your mindset from what is important for you to what is top of mind for your boss. What is it that he wants or she wants? Put yourself in her shoes. What are her concerns? What is she bothered about? Yeah? What would she like to see happen? And so if you can put your needs in that context, then that will work better. So we know that this is her concern. These are the factors that are important. See if you can align what it is that you want into that context. All right. The third thing is the behavioral approach. Yeah? So our behavioral styles make a difference to how we respond to information. And so we have to learn to understand the behavioral preferences of our bosses. How do they want to get information? So you might have a very detailed oriented boss who wants evidence for every point. So you have to be clear about what it is that you're talking about. So when you come with a suggestion, have you looked at the pros? Have you looked at the cons? Have you worked out the cost-benefit analysis? All of that might be required. Whereas you might have another boss who really wants to look at the idea and maybe from the gut or from experience you say, yeah, okay, that can work. And if you then go to them with this long sheet of pros and cons and case studies and so on, maybe they have to sleep on it and they will tell you, hold on, I'll come back, because they just don't have the time to go through all of that data. So you have to understand your behavioral styles. Very important. The fourth one is timing. Timing is so important. So yes, we are excited. This is important. This is imperative. This has to happen now. However, if we approach our bosses at the wrong time, we might not get the results that we desire. They might just be in another space mentally. They just can't think about it right now. I'm in a situation right now, working with some clients, and there's a very important issue that I need to address, and I reached out, and the person said, "Okay, fine, I'll call you," and I just understood that the call will come when the person is able to, because there are other pressing things, so there are priorities on the individual's desk. There are priorities in their mind. They have some urgency, some important things that they need to deal with right now. So you need to wait. You need to find the right time. Maybe you also need to find the right place and context. So I put up here, maybe we just go and have a cup of tea somewhere, so the person's mind is clear. That's what I'm talking about. When people are not in a position to really hear you. I mean, you might say the words and, they might even agree and say, yeah, I'm sure I hear you, etc. But they're not really internalizing what it is that you're saying. So the key then is to make sure that you find the right time, the right climate, the right environment for your manager, whoever it is you're selling the idea to be able to process what it is that you're saying realistically. All right, moving quickly ahead. The other thing now is we're talking about pain points, your issue, right? It's important if you could tie in your issue with the bigger picture of what's going on. So your local issue, maybe you are heading a major department and so on, but your local issue might not be top of mind for senior leadership. So one of the things that you have to do then is to indicate the threat. Yeah? Let us look at, if you want to look at even the COVID, if we could have seen, or some leaders could have seen the impact of COVID, maybe greater efforts could have been made to control it. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. So what you're saying to the top brass, you sit down with your boss, is that, see this issue that I'm having, that I'm asking you to address, if we do not deal with it, here are potential consequences. Okay, fine, you might be stretching the point, but the key though is to say that if this issue becomes a systemic problem, the organization is in trouble. So let's deal with it. Let's cauterize it right now, rather than have it, become a bigger problem. That's it. Let's act now. Let's do this now. That's why I'm asking you. I don't want this problem to become a bigger problem or to spread. So that's how I think you could also get your boss to listen. So yeah, it looks like a small problem. No, but it has the potential to develop in this kind of way. that's the idea. The idea is it could get bigger, and so therefore pay attention to it now. All right. The sixth one, and this one honestly is very, very tricky. Why am I saying this? Because there is the danger of seemingly wanting to go above your boss's head. Not a good idea. Generally doesn't work out so well. So what I'm saying here is, when I'm talking about pitching to the right person, I am not necessarily saying jump over your boss's head. Hear me out then, what I'm saying. I'm saying look at who are the decision makers. Look at what it is that you want to do. And to see really and truly, can your boss on her own address the issue fully? My suggestion is that you could invite your boss to get a co-sponsor. So I know that your hands are tied, boss. I know that, if it were up to you, you would just approve this and we could move forward. So I know the context, I know budget, and I know policy, and I know all of that. But boss, I think we could work with department X and somebody over there, or that this person, if we collaborate and come up with a plan with this other unit, we could get through. So that's the idea that I'm talking about, right? So this is something that I have done, where we look for the individual who might benefit most and see how we can tie on to them, hook onto their wagon and say, okay, fine, you be the Trojan horse. I'm mixing up metaphors here, but but that's all right. I hope you get the idea. Is that let us see how we can collaborate with someone who could enhance our message. That's what I'm suggesting. So I'm not suggesting you go over your boss's head, but you need to make sure that the message is going to the person who can make the decision, person who can help you to implement what it is that you want. All right. And then back now to you. What kind of mindset ought we to have as we seek to manage upwards? One of the things is to be sure to be cool and calm, monitor your body language, because you don't want to be showing your frustration. So you're going to talk to the boss and and here we go again. Well, those kinds of things. That's not the mentality. So we need to move away from that kind of even thinking to a place where we have a positive approach. We understand office politics. We understand team dynamics. We understand organization situation. And we know that not everything we want we can get. We know also that our bosses' hands are tied as well, that there are financial constraints, all sorts of different reasons why what it is that we want to get done can't get done right now. So we need to accept some of those things. No, I'm not saying sit with your hand behind your back and say, okay, fine, this can't happen, so therefore, we just move along. No, we have to be proactive, but in a sensitive way, a way that recognizes the context, a way that helps us to appreciate what's taking place. And so my suggestion is that we should have a mindset that takes a strong position about what it is that we want, have clarity about the message that we want to send, a message that's crafted in the language, the behavioral language of our bosses, so that we speak to them in a term that in ways that they can appreciate and identify with. So all of that is there. But at the same time, let us not be frustrated. Let us not lose our cool. Let us not give up hope at the same time. Right? So that's the idea. When I do a quick run through, some of you might have come in late and then still work to get out of here within 30 to 35 minutes. So what we're talking about is the whole idea of middle management, middle tier concerns about being able to convince, have their bosses listen to what it is. They are there. They have, we have our hands, fingers on the pulse of what's going on. We're at the front line. We're on the shop floor. So we know what's going on. People need to listen to us. So that's one of the frustrations that I've experienced over the years that I've worked with teams and leaders, etc. Mid-tier people have challenges. But I'm giving you 7 keys to addressing the issue as we strive to develop our capacity to manage upwards. And one of the things that we're looking at then is that there's a whole frustration of trying to get information through, and it's not happening. Right? So the challenge of this Success with People Insights is to get mid-tier leaders, and I'm talking about team leaders, supervisors, and middle managers. As long as you have a boss, this should apply to you. I'm saying instead of criticizing and thinking about the dysfunction of those at the top, let us see how we can communicate with them more effectively so that what it is that you are seeing with your finger on the pulse can be transmitted to them in a way that gets action from them. So we've shared this Vital Smarts research that said this is a big research, that there was an incompetent doctor. People recognized it, but nobody, 1% of them spoke to the doctor about it. And it went on for a year to the point where 8% said that a patient had been harmed by the doctor. And of course, the catastrophe, the big disaster with the space shuttle, where again, someone knew that there would be a problem, but because of fear of authority, they didn't do anything about it. All right. So, key number one is develop a reliable track record. You need to be credible. Right? You need to be credible. Your boss needs to know that, hey, this is a winner. So when you come to speak to her, she listens because she knows that you are one of the winners. All right. The other thing would be what's in her mind, what's top of mind for her. I know you have your urgency. I know you have your importance, but it would be good to understand what's happening with her, what is top of mind, because maybe then you can link your concern, tie that to her priorities. That's the key. The other thing would be to speak in the behavioral language. You should do this with anybody you're talking to, but certainly if you're trying to sell your boss an idea, you should actually make sure that you speak in the language that the person wants. So if you have a detail-oriented individual, then give them the evidence, give them the pros and the cons and so on. At the same time, if you have somebody who's a fast decision maker, who's going to go with their gut or their experience, then maybe you need to present a one-page bullet point. Timing, make sure that you choose the right time. If because if person is not processing what it is because they are preoccupied, then you need to make sure that you wait and find the right environment. The pain points, what I'm saying in this case is that you need to look at what are the issues in the organization. And while someone might say, this is a minor issue or this is a local issue, you need to say, yes, it's local, yes, it's small right now, but it could be a problem. It could become systemic, in which case we'd better cauterize it now, right? So that's what I put down. May I find I hear you, but we have other priorities. Yes, we have other priorities, but this one could become a major priority if it is not dealt with now. That's the idea. And pitching to the right person. I'm not saying go above your boss's head, please, but I'm saying, boss, let us see if we can find some alliances that can make this thing work. Because I know your hands are tied. I know that you don't have this kind of budget, but maybe we could form alliances. That's what that is about. And in terms of your mindset, no, don't get frustrated. Don't get too upset. I know what it is like to be in the mid-tier, pressure from below, pressure from above. But let us see how we can apply these 7 steps. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. Maybe you're here in the Success with People Insights for the first time. We are InfoSurge. Been around a few decades now, yes. And we deploy our discerning model of communication and leadership. And we work with individuals, teams, and organizations to make them perform better. Yeah? Productivity enhancement through the intuition of technology. That was our first tagline. And so we are franchise holders for Extended Disc on the Revolutionary Things platform. So we do this behavioral DNA assessment for recruitment, for leadership development, for your training programs. We do 360 assessments, we do surveys, employee satisfaction surveys, all of those things, yeah. Reasoning analysis. So that's part of our portfolio. And we infuse customized purpose-driven technology. So we are actually a technology boutique, and one of our products or solutions is Spike, Strategic Performance Improvement and Knowledge Enabler, which is a multifaceted um, technologies solution. It's wrapped around competency framework, e-competency framework 2.0. So it's a new approach to competency frameworks. And that's infused and it acts as a hub for your recruitment, for your selection, for onboarding, for leadership and development, for performance management, for performance appraisal. So succession planning, all of that is wrapped up in this multifaceted solution. We will be happy. Just send me an email and we will actually send you a, set up a demonstration of it. So we're really keen to, that's my sweet spot, working on teams to address challenges and to help them to be highly productive. Send me an email, info@successwithpeople.org. And then also let you know that we have a lot of content in cyberspace. So first of all, on YouTube, if you look at extended disk solutions, if you go to our YouTube channel, extended disk solutions, then you can find these. It used to be live casts, we're calling it Success with People Insights now. That's there. We have our Leadership DNA Club on LinkedIn, inviting you to join. Just click on it, ask to be let in, and we will allow you to come in. And we have our Success with People newsletters. All right. So that's it. Happy to have you and look forward to having you into another of our Success with People Insights. Please send me an email, info@successwithpeople.org. All right.